There comes a point in time within the healing journey where you're feeling better, but now your reality no longer reflects your new thought processes. Everything in your current reality was created from old thought patterns, beliefs, and actions. Even though you may notice sudden improved changes, there comes a point in time where big changes are needing your attention and action to help the universe or God create the reality that matches up with the real you. Following your intuition and seeking clarity, although it should feel right, isn't always comfortable. It can feel a bit contradictory to the healing process because it'll test your nervous system again. You'll be urged to let situations, environments, and people go in order to start from scratch, just as you did with your old thoughts, beliefs, and focus. And this can be difficult because internal work, although beneficial to those around you, from one lens can seem like you're only affecting yourself by focusing on the inner work, whereas then shifting your focus on clearing up your outer world then visibly affects others. This can be triggering for those who are recovering people pleasers, highly empathic, or intuitives who feel or know how others feel without them having to say a word. This will put your emotional regulation skills to the test and maybe even make you seek out new ones. Breathwork is another great tool that I might add. Wim Hof has a guided breathwork session for free here on YouTube that does wonders. But in this part of the journey, it is important that you regroup all that you've learned and immerse yourself in teachings about letting go and utilizing some of the tools that we've discussed in the previous videos, because it is especially important to support yourself in all means necessary when going through major life changes and feeling extra heavy. The transformation phase from your old life to the new one can honestly feel a bit lonely and rocky, but you are never alone. Your higher self, God, your ancestors, angels, the universe, whatever you believe in, are always with you. But in your physical reality, the time and space alone is a crucial, pivotal moment that is necessary. This is the space that should be used to learn, reflect, and then implement on all that you've learned in conjunction with taking the leaps of faith that are nudged and trusting your intuition. Some situations and people will now come in to validate old thought patterns and beliefs that still want to force their way through because of conditioning. And on the other side of the coin, other situations, people, and places that will reflect and support your growth. Although isolation can also have the opposite effect, it can feel so good to be in your own uplifting, peaceful, creative, playful energy that you almost prefer to be alone. You don't want to miss out on experiences or opportunities to connect, heal, learn, or be inspired by others. As contradicting as it may seem, allow the outside world to trigger you so that you know what you should work on internally or actions and goals you'd like to partake in. Trust yourself. Don't let the transition phase make you uncomfortable enough to fall back into old patterns or hide. Hold on tight. The transition phase will eventually pass and you'll reap from the rewards before you know it. You'll notice yourself surrounded by people and environments of different caliber, the experiences and community that you've been seeking and that your heart truly desires is worth patience. Never settle. You'll actually energetically find it harder to do so. So you might as well trust the process and make it as lighthearted as can be. When I began to realize what environments and relationships needed to be reevaluated, either with space or letting go, I struggled with feeling like I was being cold versus learning how to put up boundaries respectfully. Now, you might also be somewhat picking up on the other person or people's perception of you, but there comes a time that if you begin to notice a pattern of feeling off after spending time with them, and I don't mean if they're having an off day. We all have those, although it's never an excuse to be rude or disrespectful towards others. But generally speaking, if you're always feeling off around a person, it is not to judge others, but to trust in your intuition without an explanation, because your higher self or God is aware of things that you are not, because you are no longer energetically resonating, or simply that you're both in different seasons of your life. It's okay to also take time and space apart from people that you were once close with. And if there should come a time that you may be more compatible in the future, Let nature take its course. Every single person in your life influences you in one way or another. We want to be mindful with who we surround ourselves with, while also taking into account the thoughts we entertain and holding ourselves accountable to express how we feel to another if we want healthy, understood, reciprocated connections. None of us are perfect, and all relationships require give and take. We're all learning and trying our best with the mental tools that each of us has to navigate uncomfortable situations. These conversations can only feel right when both parties feel safe to connect. There's a shared bond that allows for vulnerability, each other's emotional maturity, and capacity to hold another's perspective must be reciprocated in order for a productive conversation to take place. Sometimes you can only meet people where they or the relationship is at. We tend to be picky with romantic partners, not thinking that we should carry that same stance amongst the friendships or close relationships we choose to partake in. We want another to add to our lives, if not match it. And I don't mean in judging them by the way that they look, where they come from, or their social status. We could be missing out on influential, meaningful relationships in that regard, but rather in the way they view life through their mindset, thoughts, and beliefs. If a person close to you believes that money is hard to come by, this will be a continuous topic of conversation or intertwining into conversations, highlighting all the ways in which scenarios support those beliefs. You may learn to adopt the mindset of those you frequently see. Your subconscious is always listening, and you may be potentially living from those same thoughts of lack. How can you then come up with creative solutions, alone or together, to attract money? Or if a friend is always highlighting the lack of the opposite sex, you may then begin to think less of your spouse or at the fact that you won't find a like-minded, well-rounded partner. Or if you surround yourself with community that constantly highlights the differences of others based on where they're from or a status they follow, you will continuously see a barrier of differences amongst people rather than highlighting how beautifully similar we all could be and relate. There are so many of these beliefs, big and small, that play a great influence on our behavior. Some thoughts are created in toxic relationships as a form of protection. This is why it is so important that you choose who you let enter and stay in your life. You can outgrow environments realizing that you are sitting in a job or career that no longer makes you happy, a coffee shop that no longer resonates with your new desired healthcare plan, a home because every corner leaves you with a reminder of your previous separation, or a spa or gym that just no longer feels energetically uplifting because of staff changes. Whatever the reason, trust the nudge. There's always another opportunity out there that better suits you, and this could be the universe's way of letting you know. So when letting go of old relationships and environments leaves room for new people and places to explore, for some, putting yourself out there can seem nerve-wracking. Take it from someone who used to be so reserved. You overcome this just by putting yourself out there. It may take some time, but it's a process. First step is surrounding yourself with others, introducing yourself, showing interest in others, making small talk, listening more than you speak, till you're eventually a pro. Understanding what personalities you jive with, bringing knowledge, jokes, or interesting topics to conversation, showing your true self so that you attract those who resonate with who you truly are. There are many influencers who now discuss how to successfully maneuver in social situations. Exploring new places is a confidence booster. Once you get past the awkwardness, you learn who you are outside of being correlated with a group or amongst another. And you can make all the decisions as a party of one, revealing more of your subconscious beliefs if you pay attention. I once heard that we only have so much of ourselves to nurture a handful of relationships at one time between our jobs, self-care, or intermediate families, which may include parents, children, romantic partners, or extended family, previous and new relationships, co-workers, people in community. That can add up, which makes me reflect on the relationships that I value and if I've given them the proper care, just as I've learned to care for the relationship that I have with myself. Once you start learning how to ease your own negative thoughts, it's a form of self-love, respect, and kindness. You should then expect that from others and try your best to treat others in the way that you have learned to treat yourself. If I know that I'm working through something or feeling triggered, I try my best to ground through nature, movement, breathwork, or utilize my clearing spiritual practices before coming around others. Or if I can help it, I will not come around as to not unintentionally bring them down with my energy. We all go through grief, moments of sadness, anger, or depression during seasons, and the support of others is sometimes needed and uplifting. Be grateful to those who hold space for you to unload, sort through thoughts, or the conversation calls for mutual depth. But check in out of capacity if they themselves have the mental space to hold you during these times. And honestly ask yourself, if you may be looping in a situation, have you and this person or group already touched on the topic? And have you been actively seeking and carrying out solutions? As you begin to show others compassion, because we are all realizing that everyone is going through situations or thought patterns that we cannot see, that compassion needs to be reciprocated back to you in close relationships as to avoid resentment down the line. Do they leave you feeling uplifted? Do they show genuine interest in you and your life or perspectives in the way you show them? Do they listen without interruption or judgment? We all have our own opinions or just want to start a topic of conversation and will not always agree, but opposing insights can birth new, stronger solutions that can withhold different perspectives. It's how we respectfully intertwine our opinions with another. Are they someone who'd be genuinely happy for you if you were to share an accomplishment? We can realize that a person does or has something we too would like and be happy for them in unison. Don't rush community or quality relationships. It takes time and space to build and maintain trust and dive deep into who you both truly are. Not everyone is for you and you are not for everyone, and that is okay. There are so many different types of personalities and people with different interests out there, and that is a beautiful thing. It makes your tribe exclusive to you, but also leaves room to learn from others. There may be times where we do find ourselves clicking with another, only to find out the feeling isn't reciprocated. Don't take it personal. They themselves may have a handful of meaningful relationships and just can't energetically cater to a new one. They're focused on lifestyle changes, a career, or projects that need their undivided attention. Or they're just the type to wing it at life and live in the present moment without any expectation. Either way, what's meant for you will not pass you by. Honor any new interests. There's a reason why you're feeling called to try, do, or learn new things, no matter how unorthodox, cringe, or out of character it may seem for you, to you, or others. Becoming more of your true self after sifting through outdated thoughts, beliefs, relationships, and environments takes time, patience, and practice to feel comfortable and safe in being who you truly want to be. It's beneficial to look at our life as if we are an outsider looking in every so often and audit your relationships. What activities and thoughts are consuming most of your time, and where are you spending most of your time? Then checking back in with your current goals or values. Do they match up, or how can you improve? Sending you all so much love, especially those going through the transition phase. Remember that you are never alone. Others can relate, and as long as you keep going, it can only get better.